Hey friends, and welcome back to week 3 of planting out our spring garden. So I didn't really film planting last week because I didn't plant a whole ton. The only thing I did last week was put tomatoes in, which was a little bit risky, but I'm fine with that because I have a ton more tomato plants started. I got a bunch of free seeds from a friend, and so I have all of these extra tomatoes that I started, so I didn't mind if I put some in the ground and risked having some of them get zapped. It looks like only 2 got zapped. It was predicted, like on the 10-day forecast, that it was going to get down to 45 last night, and then it said it was going to be 43 last night, which I still wasn't super worried about. But when I got up this morning, the outdoor thermometer said 34 degrees, which is a lot colder than I was expecting. But it looks like most of our tomatoes are fine. There's 2 of them that look like they got zapped, but the rest of them look fine. So last week, Ellie and I put this up. We had a trellis here for peas, but it had gotten knocked over because the weight of the peas was so heavy. So we put 8-foot posts in and put the field fence up higher so we can put the tomatoes up onto the trellis. But you can see there might be there's a little bit of zapping going on, but most of the tomatoes look totally fine. Those 2 in the middle are zapped. It's so weird to me how the cold settles, like that everything else in this row is fine, but the 2 in the middle got frozen. It's very strange. But basically what I want to work on this week is getting this section in here prepared for sweet potatoes. This middle section did not get mulched last year, and so the soil in here is not as great. So what I'm planning to do is sift out compost, lay a layer of compost, put my sweet potatoes in, and then cover with mulch. If you were here for the last video, I was talking about how this was about to bloom, and it has fully bloomed. It's really pretty. And I had gotten in my Genovese basil in here, so I still need to plant my holy basil. They're all in pots and they need to get out. They're huge. This section in here, I haven't quite decided what I'm putting in there. I think I'm going to put the holy basil in there. I had corn in there last year and squashes. And I had an idea the other day, and now I can't think of it. But once I figure out what I'm putting in there, I will let you know. Our peas are looking really good. I'm happy with their progress. I did put a string in here so they have a little bit of a help getting up, because in previous years they've had a harder time getting up to that top rung, or the bottom rung I mean, because it's a bit of a ways. So those are all in there. I've been working on digging all of this dog fennel out of my garden. My garden went bonkers last year and I did not maintain it as well as I normally do. And so the dog fennel went to seed and it is all over my garden. And it's one of those that you have to get the roots out. It's a pain in the butt. So I've been digging this one out, and then whatever this is down here, I don't know what it is, but it has like great big, almost like tubers, and you have to dig it out. This is a pain in the butt because you can't pull it, because if you try to pull it, it just breaks off. And then the root's still in there, and it sends out this huge stalk with berries on it. It might be beautyberry, but I'm not entirely sure. So getting those out of here too, because they drive me nuts. We do have some rutabaga coming up. I had just about given up on the rutabaga because I thought they were not coming up, but they are popping up in here. I had a couple onions. I think the onions are still there. Let me see. They don't look so great. I think I might have to buy onions this year. And then I had sprinkled carrots through the rest of the year, and none of those carrots really came up. There might be a couple coming up down there. So I had restarted my carrots in pots. But we've got a bunch of watermelon popping up all over the place, just where melons maybe got rotted out here and left in the ground. Our beans are starting to pop up. We had planted purple beans. I like the varieties where the pods are like blue or purple. It's much easier to find them when you're picking than when they're green and they blend in. Ellie and I started a bunch of seeds when we were doing our big planting week 1. So these were started on April 10th and 11th. So the ones that have sprouted, I've taken them out so they can get full sun. And well, the reason I leave them in the shade is so they don't get dried out as bad. And then we had started our carrots in these pots over here, and it looks like some of them are starting to sprout up, which is great, but I'm going to start another pot just in case. So basically what I'm going to do is anything that hasn't sprouted, I'm going to plant again, because I got a whole bunch of free seeds, and they might not be like viable. I don't want to overplant. I just put like 1 in each, except for the sunflowers, put 4 in there. But But basically, I'm just going to go through all of these and replant what didn't come up. One of the nice things about having livestock is that we do not have any shortage of supply of compost. I know fertilizer can be hard to find sometimes. So this pile I think is from last year, it might be from 2 years ago. And then we have the newer piles. And so we always have a influx of compost. So basically what we do is we put it into our sifter in the wheelbarrow, and we have, for whatever reason, a lot of these great big giant grub worms. And so as we're going through the garden or the compost, we throw those in a bucket and those go to the chickens. Very symbiosis.
Mom, can I see
symbiosis.
The gum worm?
It's,
can I see the gum worm?
They all feed each other. From just 3 wheelbarrows of compost, we got this many grub worms. That's a lot. I'm gonna be doing this in sections because I probably will not get this all done in one day, and I don't want this compost to get super dried out because there are good earthworms in here too. So our next step is going to be putting in some whole sweet potatoes. That is 3 wheelbarrows worth of compost. It's maybe like a 4x4 area. So now on to the next step. Basically all I do is I save my sweet potatoes from the year before, and instead of making slips, I plant them whole. It saves a step. It's one less thing I have to worry about, and they still grow really great. I haven't had, I think last year we got 250 pounds of sweet potatoes, if I remember right. It was our biggest year, and all I did was plant them whole like this. And basically it's all the little ones that I don't want to deal with peeling, and they become our seed potatoes. What's crazy is I started my sweet potato patch years ago from 2 little sweet potatoes that I got from Lowe's, and that was it. And every year I've just kept some that we didn't eat and planted them back in, and or like I've done slips before in the past too. But just started with 2 sweet potatoes. And that's one thing I love about gardening is you can start with just a couple of something, and you can save your seeds. You can multiply it until you have an entire garden's worth. Then the last step is just to cover with a light layer of mulch.
Mommy,
We're not going to thickly mulch it like in the rest of the garden because we're not trying to keep it from growing. We just want to hold the moisture in.
Okay, here's Mommy. Dummy.
So we're packing our potatoes in there. I like to put some sticks to indicate where the end of my row is, or like where the end of my planting is usually. So then I know. So I'll just put another stick here once I put the mulch down to indicate that is where I stopped with planting right there. So I was really hungry when I started seeds, and I got a bunch of free seeds from a friend that they were going to get thrown out. Just a second. So I way overplanted my tomatoes. I already have an entire row in the garden, but I started more because I was like, you know what? I've never grown enough tomatoes to make all of our tomato products, and I'd really like to get there. So now I need to get all of these separated into their own little pots to get them to grow a little bit bigger. I'll probably try to give away a few or sell some, and then the rest of them are going to go in the ground. So I just split those 4 pots into 64 tomato plants. I think I overdid it a little bit. These are San Marzano, I think, are they all of them? Yeah, don't plant when you're hungry. So what I'm going to do now is just put these in the shade for the rest of the day, and then depending on how sunny it's going to be tomorrow, I might put them back out. I might kind of put them out half the day just so that they can recover after having their roots ripped apart. But I like starting them this way because then that way if I have to bring them in and out, it's way less trays I have to carry, because 4 pots compared to 64 pots, it's way easier to carry those in and out when we have like frost risk and stuff than it is having to carry like a whole entire tray. It's been a couple days, so I can't remember what all we've talked about getting planted, but we got our holy basil in the ground. We got it trimmed, got it drying, made some holy basil tea. We got 1 row of tomatoes in, and everything that's sprouting from my seeds on the porch, once they start sprouting, I bring them out here to get full sun. it just helps to keep them from getting dried out by keeping them up there. Did I not label that one? I didn't. It's either a zucchini or a yellow squash. I need to start getting some of these in the ground because they grow fast and their roots get bound. So this section was a row last year. I think I had corn. Can't remember what else I had in here. I had corn and solution, something else. But so I need to get all this, the weeds cleaned out, and then I can get my black beans planted in here. There's a ton of zinnias coming up, and there's watermelons and stuff coming up too. I don't want necessarily all of these zinnias, but it's going to be survival of the fittest. And so like we'll just see what comes up. We got our rutabagas coming up in here. The carrots that I planted never came up, so I'm putting some more black beans in here too. I need to get my ginger started, but because we're still having some kind of coolish nights, like getting down to about 50, I'm going to start my ginger in the greenhouse. Ginger is more of a tropical type of plant. It likes to be warm and wet. It does not like to be full sun. I like to usually put it underneath the plant. So I'm just going to start it in here until we start seeing it come through the ground, and that should give it enough time to get a little bit of a head start. All right, so I've just got a couple gingers. The rest of them are dehydrated. We don't use a ton of ginger. I use it for one of my favorite soups and for making elderberry syrup, and that's about it. So all I'm going to do, I don't think it's got some, not some nubs. So it'll start growing out of these. But you can see like that's a little bit green. It's starting to grow on that one right there. So we're just going to place these just a little bit below. So all I did was throw some fresh compost into this pot that I had in here from over the winter. And that's all we're gonna do with that. And then once we start
to make ginger?
Yes. Once we start seeing sprouts come through the ground, then I will mulch it and we'll move it out underneath the rose bush. What are you eating?
Strawberries.
Oh, from our garden? Are they good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been getting a few strawberries here and there. The blackberry bush is flowering. And my raspberry shoots are spreading out like crazy, which is awesome. They're getting little blossoms on there. I'm not sure with the raspberries. I know with the black raspberries, I think they only produce on second year canes. So like if they have already produced, then you can trim them off. I'm not sure if that's the same for red raspberries. I want to stop real quick and show you one more thing.
This one.
So my gorgeous peony has bloomed. It's so beautiful. Peonies are one of my absolute favorite flowers. When I was growing up, my mom had the most beautiful white peonies in her garden, and I loved them. And so my parents got this for me a couple years ago because I couldn't justify spending that much money on a flower, but I love it. I love it so much. We're finally getting some rain. We've been in a terrible drought for quite a while. And it rained really good yesterday night, and it's raining real good this morning. We really need it. So just to recap, as of the end of May, here's what we have in the garden. We have broccolis, green beans, cabbages, green beans, more broccoli and cabbages, some squashes in there, black beans down there, holy basil, a row of winter rye, which is heading out beautifully, Genovese basil, a row of peas, sweet potatoes, and a row of tomatoes. We're getting a cold front coming through this weekend, but once that passes through, we're gonna get our peppers planted in next. We've got more sweet potatoes, we've got a bunch of squashes, we've got to get corn planted. There's a lot of things we still need to plant, but the garden's looking great. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a great year. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.